the Professional Bowlers Association present the $55,000 St. Clair PBA Senior Open. Here's a rundown of tonight's finalists. John Hriscina, the current PBA Senior Player of the Year, will open up championship round play against Gus Marsala of Maryland Heights, Missouri, who is making his first ever appearance on national television. Also making his initial Senior Tour Championship round showing is PBA Hall of Famer Don Johnson. Last week's Hammond Open winner Mickey Spiezio will be trying to make it 2 in a row, while Toney of Oakhill, West Virginia, after averaging .223 this week, will shoot for his first title from the top seed position. Welcome to beautiful St. Clair Bowl, located in O'Fallon, Illinois, for tonight's championship round finals of the $55,000 St. Clair PBA Senior Open. Hi, everybody. I'm Denny Schreiner, and welcome to St. Clair Bowl for the rejuvenation of a wonderful PBA career. Don Coco Johnson will be making his first appearance in the championship round since 1978 here this evening. I know you went head-to-head with him many times, Michael, on the PBA National Tour, and it's nice to see Coco back in the top 5.
He's been a tremendous competitor over the years. He won 26 national titles. He won the Firestone Tournament of Champions twice. He was PBA Player of the Year. Then he had a nerve injury to his thumb, and his hand release was never quite the same. He says now, Denny, that he has a different drilling. He's getting that thumb out real quick. He's learned a little bit about weights, and he could be a threat here tonight.
Speaking of threats, Mickey Spiezio, our number 2 qualifier, will try and make it 2 in a row here tonight.
Well, Mickey went through 4 opponents last week. This week, he only has to go through 2, so it should be twice as easy.
All right, and we have 2 players who have never appeared on national television, including our top seed.
Right, in the number 4 position, Gus Marsala is going to be a nervous participant. And our tournament leader, Toney, it's his first televised appearance also. He has some knee problem. He'll be bowling in pain, but he only has to bowl 1 game, Dennis.
And rounding out the top 5, the current Player of the Year, John Hriscina. So it should be a good telecast. Stay tuned. We'll be back with match number 1 momentarily. The championship round finals of the $55,000 St. Clair PBA Senior Open are being brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beers with that clean, crisp, cold taste. Nothing beats a Bud. By Midas for mufflers, brakes, and shocks. Nobody beats Midas. Nobody. And by Tenactin. Get the medicine that acts tough. Tough-actin' Tenactin. And when we come back to St. Clair Bowl, it'll be John Hriscina and Gus Marsala in the opening match.
To get rid of her gray, my wife can spend 40 minutes. But I discovered the 5-minute hair coloring.
The revolutionary discovery called Just for Men from the leader in men's hair coloring. Simply apply Just for Men and in 5 minutes shampoo out.
Gray is blended away. The look of my natural color is back in 5 minutes. That was me, and it won't fade or wash out.
My hair takes forever, but you look great in just 5 minutes.
The look of your natural color in just 5 minutes with Just for Men.
You call Pizza Hut?
Yep.
Good thing they deliver.
Yep.
Though if Pizza Hut didn't deliver, I guess we could call that other place.
What other place?
Why are people changing to Pizza Hut delivery? Because now they can get America's favorite pan pizza loaded with toppings and 2 layers of cheese delivered right to their door.
Time for a game? No, thanks. Maybe some people just don't like Domino's anymore.
Guess not.
Pizza Hut delivery, hanging in great.
Investing? Bob taught me the ropes, but he was missing something big. Commission discounts. He picks his own investments, rarely takes his broker's advice, but he was paying full commissions. So, market rookie that I am, I tell him how much I save at Charles Schwab, and now he's got Schwab on speed dial. Bob may not need investment advice, but he could sure use help with those chopsticks.
We give you more ways to succeed.
Advantages. We both have Schwab accounts, but I've got the edge. We both have Schwab One, the brokerage account with free checking. Both save on commissions, and both earn income between investments. My old broker charged $80 for an account with checking. At Schwab, we pay zip. But I've still got Jack beat, because I can find my Schwab on the checkbook.
We give you more ways to succeed.
And we're located in O'Fallon, Illinois this evening at St. Clair Bowl for the St. Clair PBA Senior Open. Gus Marsala making his first shot on national television.
And that heart's got to be pounding a little bit right now, Dennis.
from a nearby St. Louis suburb. First shot comes out, and no problem whatsoever on lane 15.
Boy, did he come out of that smooth. And did you watch the ball at the end? It just kind of rolled out at the end. The lanes are really, when you throw it wide, hooking excessively tonight, Dennis, and we are going to see several shots roll out.
Let's see if this one rolls out. It will go wide, and it will come back. Pocket hit for Hriscina, who opens with a strike. Our championship round pair, 15 and 16.
And John, who is the senior PBA player of the year, probably hooks it more than anybody on the senior tour. He's trying to go right around this oil. He is so strong. Watch him here. Now watch this short backswing and the cupped wrist. Right in trigger position here. Nice long slide. And then he lifts it out on the lane and goes around the ball, hooks it tremendously, but leaves the soft 10.
Playing this kind of an angle, Mike, any danger of the pocket 7-10?
Definitely, Denny. You come in here, you can send that 5 right in front of the 7 and get the 10-pin having company.
John kind of smiled and said, Denny, is this ball too bright to be used on the telecast this evening? I said, no, as long as it works, it doesn't bother us. I said, but if you're throwing that ball for your strike ball later on, then we'll know you're in trouble.
He threw it a few times in practice and it struck, I'll tell you.
Just goes to show you when you're playing well, you can strike with just about anything. First appearance for the senior tour in this area, and the fans have turned out all week long. Really enjoyed the senior players. Gus with a pretty good shot, shakes up the 5-pin, and he opens with a double.
Gus, a very deliberate player with a controlled arm swing, but I really like his follow-through. He goes by that adage, you know, that trust is a must. You know, he really trusts the shot. Watch his delivery here. 5-step player. Pushes it out now. The ball right in time. Controls that swing. Shoulder high backswing. Nice long. Now watch the follow through. Good position right there. Has 2 in a row.
Joined the PBA Tour way back in 1975. Went all the way to about the 3 board there. Tripped out the 4. The 9 remains.
And again, what saved him there was that ball definitely rolled out at the 1-3 pocket, and he got that 4-pin out of there.
When you speak of the ball rolling out, Michael, explain that.
Well, the ball will skid a certain distance down the lane, then turn on its axis called precession, and then go into a roll. But when the lane is really dry, it will actually stop rolling and go back the other way. Move to the right if you're a right-hander. Stop going from right to left. And the lanes are dry at the back end of the lane, and that's what Gus's ball was doing. There's the first ball for Gus. And that ball, we see it just stopping right at the pocket. The 4 and the 9 is there, and the 2-pin just gives a little gentle kiss to the 4, and it falls over.
No rollout in that shot, and an unfortunate break. The 5-pin danced toward the 7 and kind of got blocked before it got there.
Well, that's that same hit that you can leave the pocket 7-10 on, Denny, and he got the 10 out with no trouble, but not enough power to knock out that 7-pin.
Do you think that John is playing the lanes properly and trying to hook the ball as much as he is, or maybe go to a harder surface ball and play him a little tighter?
It's a matter of personal preference. If it were me, or I shouldn't say me, a lot of players would opt to go to a harder ball and move right into the dry area. John's preference is to stay left and to just circle and try and go around the oil with this softer ball that hooks more. Soft speed.
Another good shot, another pocket hit, and yet another 10-pin.
And again, he'll use this, would you call that orange?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a pink orange. It's a blur when it goes down the lane when he throws it at the spares.
Pumpkin. Looks like he's throwing a pumpkin, doesn't it? Ball doesn't hit like one, though.
It's hitting like a pumpkin right now, though.
So he's up by 11. Marsala, that is. And, boy, he'd love to win this opening match against Hriscina and get loosened up a little bit.
Smooth delivery. Well, you never know as his wife Carol applauds.
She has to be excited here this evening. Well, he's performing beautifully in the opening appearance.
It's like he was a veteran of many, many years of bowling on television. There we see. Difference 11 pins. Gus can increase it to 21 with one more strike. Smooth again.
Needs the break. Oh, look at that 10-pin wiggle around the oohs and the ahs from the audience, but it doesn't help.
Well, it looked like a pin got in the way of the head pin coming back off the sideboard to knock out the 10. Watch the head pin. Goes to the sideboard. The 6-pin lays in the channel here. And
did you see how much
pin just didn't have enough power to get that.
Did you see how much the ball deflected, though? That kind of surprised me. And so does that as Marsala opens, missing the 10-pin, missing a 1-pin spare, and just so happens to be Mike Durbin's average building tip here this evening, how to convert those 1-pin spares. Boy, when you do something like that in a championship round match, it normally spells trouble somewhere along the way. Hriscina jumps up, throws the strike, and watch. This will be a double before you know it.
It's just something about the adrenaline in your opponent. When he sees you open like that, it brings out the killer instinct in all of these guys, especially with a senior PBA player of the year.
So instead of Gus, if he had double leading by 21, now he trails by 1, and it could be 11 if John strikes here.
How quick it turns around, huh, Denny? He's purposely throwing slower on this lane. And there's the result.
Shakes him up, throws the double, and now leads by 11. And when we come back, we'll show you more of match number 1. But before we get back, let's update you on those PBA Senior Tour average leaders.
America's favorite heroes. America's favorite kids. America's favorite sports. America's favorite theatrical movies and original world premieres. Your business can reach for the stars. Advertise locally on America's favorite cable network, USA.
Call King Video Cable Ad Sales today for affordable rates and great exposure at 531-4433.
Truck owners, if you don't want a full-size topper, check out the Pop Top by Dynaglass. Attractive, isn't it? When was the last time you could improve appearance and also improve your gas mileage? Up to 20%. And would you think a topper so strong and durable would be so easy to install and remove? The Pop Top by Dynaglass. For work, or play, or everyday use. With a unique locking system. Available at Radco, Brooklyn Park, and Burnsville.
You are cordially invited to a British tea party. The British Open, Thursday and Friday morning at 9 Eastern, live on ESPN.
Good news is Marsala picked up the 10-pin at this attempt. He struck in the 6th while we were away, and now Hriscina is up in the 7th, working on a double, leading by 11.
And again, he's using more speed on lane 16, throwing softer on 15. Circled that one a little bit more and knocked that 10-pin right out of there.
What an advantage.
Well, when it's striking, it is. I mean, John is versatile enough as he calls for a re-rack that he can hook it around the oil, or if he wants to play an oil line and go straighter, he can do that too. He's an amazingly talented bowler.
And looking for a victory here in 1991.
He's got a number of seconds already as a senior player. Second place finishes, I mean.
Mm-hmm. Trying to keep the string alive, and he does. So Hriscina strings together 4 consecutive strikes from the 5th through the 8th and takes a commanding 31-pin advantage.
And now Gus is into that position where he has to strike to stay in the match. The best that Gus can get right now is 227 if he strikes all the way out. John going at a 228 pace, so Gus is still alive, but just barely breathing.
A little quick with the feet. Ball slides by the pocket, and time is running out at this stage, and you can see the disappointment written all over Gus's face. The 10-pin that he missed in the 5th really kind of threw this match around. Yeah.
Right. As you say, if he'd have struck there, 30 more pins on his score. At the 258, nice conversion, very nice. But doesn't look like it's going to be enough, Denny.
Well, what goes through your mind is, well, you can make that 258, and that's a very, very tough spare, and yet you missed the 10-pin.
Well, I've missed 10 pins in crucial situations too, Denny.
Sure, everybody has. I think that's what we always question, though. It's funny because I had talked to Mark Roth yesterday and asked him what he felt the key was to him winning so many big matches through the years, and he said, I'll tell you, the championship round, I just tried to make sure I didn't ever open. I wanted to make people beat me. I didn't want to give them anything in terms of missing spares, and he obviously did a pretty good job of that through the years.
Well, 33 national titles, but his record on television really wasn't that good. Guys always seemed to pump up against Mark Roth and Earl Anthony and Marshall Holman.
Sure, they bring their A game, and then some. Hriscina working on a 4-bagger, make it 5, and Susan is very happy about what's transpired here thus far in game number 1. Possible 258.
And he's found a way to strike if he keeps it up. Obviously, he picked the right ball. My adjustment wouldn't have been the right one. Out and around, and knocks out that 10-pin.
Terry looks very good at this point, as this match is over and done with. Gus Marsala will have to be happy with 5th place this week, and his first ever appearance. I thought he bowled very nicely.
And he was anxious to get up there and bowl that 10th frame, and John kind of said, being the veteran on TV, said, no, Gus, I got to finish out first here.
Hold on just a minute. I'll be through here momentarily.
As I throw a couple more strikes to shoot 250.
Nice start for Hriscina, who doesn't seem to be too affected thus far. I think he's been a little disappointed in how he has played in the championship round over the last year.
Well, he keeps talking that the least his opponents have started out with him is a turkey, and Gus only started out with a double here, so he figured he had it won right away.
That's can be very demoralizing. Did you ever go through a stretch like that, Mike, on the national tour when people just seem to shoot big numbers at you?
I once shot 268 against Guppy Troop and couldn't win.
Oh, jeez. Where was that?
That was in Fresno. That was the highest scoring show in the history of the PBA.
Cedar Lanes.
Yes, right.
So 258 for Hriscina, plenty enough to move on to game number 2.
Nice shot.
Oh, beautiful shot. Represented himself rather nicely here this evening, but too little too late for Gus Marsala. We'll come back with Mike Durbin's Average Builder, and of course more bowling here from St. Clair Bowl in O'Fallon, Illinois, right after these messages.
HBO's Dream On presents tips for the 90s. Good nutrition is essential.
The wine is for now. The oil's for later.
Be open to new relationships.
Excuse me, aren't you Eddie Charles?
Always dress for success.
I could be naked and in your office in 5 minutes.
Parents should be open and honest.
Can't we just give him some book with lots of pictures or something?
Life and Love in the 90s on Dream On.
Have a nice day.
Only on HBO.
A mild case of athlete's foot is one thing. A really tough case, that's something else. The irritating itch, the painful cracking, the burning. That's when you want a medicine that acts tough. Tough-Actin Tonactin. Tonactin cures even the tough cases of athlete's foot fungus. And Tonactin's clinically proven. No wonder it's the antifungal most recommended by pharmacists. So when you've got a tough case of athlete's foot, get the medicine that acts tough. Tough-Actin Tonactin. Oh, say, can you see the great sports in July on ESPN? You'll see America's favorite pastime 4 nights a week. Booming drives bursting in air at the British Open, U.S. Women's Open, and the U.S. Senior Open. American Olympic hopefuls taking their first steps toward Olympic glory at the U.S. Olympic Festival. Plus down-home NASCAR racing excitement in the land of the free and the home of great sports in July on ESPN.
Average Builders is brought to you by Pizza Hut, home of the incredible picnic pairs deal. Pizza Hut, making it great.
For tonight's Average Builder, I thought I'd like to look at how to convert single pin spares. You know, for the average amateur bowler, nothing strikes more fear into their hearts than to shoot one single pin at the end of the lane 60 feet away. But really, a single pin spare is far easier to make than a group of pins. Let me show you why. Here we have a single pin at the end of the lane. What we have in reality to make that spare is from this half of the ball where it's rolling to this half of the ball. And if you measure that, that's about 13 inches, which is a large area. But try and think of it in a different light. If I measure from this side of the ball to this side of the ball, it's about 22 inches. That means that if I can put the ball in that 22-inch corridor, I'm going to make the spare. Keep in mind that the lane is only 42 inches wide, so that's over half the lane. Let me show you now just how easy it really is. I'm going to shoot the 5-pin, which is the easiest single pin spare on the lane. Oh well, nobody's perfect. You be sure and join us Saturday, July 13th in Tucson, Arizona, 2 o'clock Eastern Time, where we'll have another average builder. In the meantime, I got to look up my local PBA pro.
Mike Durbin, the only player in the history ever to miss the 5-pin on national television. Hriscina and Don Johnson wouldn't miss. Of course, they're coming up next.
You call Pizza Hut?
Yep.
Good thing they deliver.
Yep.
Though if Pizza Hut didn't deliver, I guess we could call that other place.
What other place?
Why are people changing to Pizza Hut delivery? Because now they can get America's favorite pan pizza loaded with toppings and 2 layers of cheese delivered right to their door.
Time for a game? No thanks. Maybe some people just don't like Domino's anymore.
Guess not.
Pizza Hut delivery, hanging in great.
Sometimes you know when you've made a difference.
Unit 14 on the scene.
Somehow you found the time.
We're going to take good care of you.
You learned the skills.
Take the airway.
You met the challenges. And now you are the difference between life and death.
BP and rate are stable, looking good.
Make a difference with your life. Be a part of your local emergency medical services. Volunteer or start a career. A public service message from Quantum Chemical Corporation.
If it happens in baseball, you'll see it on ESPN.
There he goes. He leaps. He makes the catch.
See Tuesday night doubleheaders, Wednesday night excitement, Friday night twin bills, and exclusive Sunday night action. Ruben Sierra leads the Texas Rangers stampede through the AL West. Joe Carter pilots the high-flying first-place Blue Jays. The Rangers beat the Blue Jays live at 8 Eastern on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball.
And welcome back to match number 2 from O'Fallon, Illinois, as John Hriscina disposed of Gus Marsala in game number 1, 258-203 the final. Hriscina comes out against Don Johnson, picks up right where he left off with a strike in the first frame on lane 15.
Well, would he finish 8 in a row the last game and just continue striking this game?
Boy, turn back the hands of time a little bit here for Don Johnson. 1978, his last appearance on national television. Truly one of the greats of all time.
And he was great in the clutch and great on television. He had tremendous performances.
Comes out, light hit, needs a strike, and gets it. That'll loosen up the arm swing.
Well, Coco was always the type that was a fidgety type player. He was nervous. He had a little mannerisms here and there. But when it came time to throw the shot, he could always respond.
Match I'll never, ever forget. I was working across the street as a busboy at Ballin's Diner the day that he shot .299 at the Firestone. I had the little television in the back. I went crazy. What a great match. May see it again as he opens with a double here in his first appearance.
You remember who he beat?
Sure I do. Dick Ricker shot .268.
You know who Ricker beat the game before?
Well, the guy that missed the 5-pin a couple of minutes ago.
That's why he lost. He couldn't make the 5-pin.
That was a tremendous show, wasn't it? Oh, my. That must have been fun for you just watching, huh? Soft hit. Hriscina leaves
the 10-pin.
All right.
And every shot he's had in the pocket. He finished the last game with 8 and started here with 9. He was going for an Andy Verapapa.
Which is 12 in a row in any game, in any bowling center, in any practice.
Anytime.
Right.
Just 12 in a row.
I completely agree with him. Hard and straight at the 10. Don Johnson leads by 10.
Don Johnson using a brand new ball here, it looks like, for the television show. He's had 5 different balls drilled up this week. Ron Hoppy, another senior player out here, has changed his weights and changed the pitch in his thumb a little bit to enable him to feel better about how his ball is rolling. Is it going to fall?
Boy, oh boy, what do you have to do to the 7-pin to finally get it to drop?
Well, remember, he started the last game like this and just took an error on his opponent's part for him to get going. So he's got the pocket down. It's just a matter of whether he's going to knock down 10 or 9 or what.
The 11 pins, now the lead for Don Johnson, who spends the majority of his time when he's not on the senior tour out in Las Vegas.
At a place called Arizona Charlie's. He's an instructor there. Has been there for the last 16 years.
Loose swing. Needs the reaction. The wall hit, and it doesn't quite respond as he leaves the 7-pin.
And many times with a brand new ball like this that's shiny, it doesn't quite bite the lane as much as a ball that's been tracked in, and that's what's happening with Don. I think actually he's getting just a little bit too much skid with this ball right now.
Completely different approach. Don going with the polished ball, a little straighter up and at him, and John Hriscina trying to circle it with a softer ball.
Well, it's a different philosophy. 5-step player. The thing to notice here, Denny, is you watch him step. Watch how quickly he gets the ball into the swing. There's the first step. Now he pushes it out. Straight arm swing. It's into the swing already. Watch how quickly it's into the backswing. It's at the peak now, and he has to catch up. And the nice long slide. Watch the follow-through. Went in and then back out. Not his best follow-through. Same thing again. That follow-through in and out. Yesterday, he wasn't going in. He was just straight through and out to the right. And here's the normal speed of Coco in his approach.
Well, you've always told me when the arm goes left, the ball's going to end up going right.
And the 2-5 is what he left.
Picks it up. And the match now stands at 8 pins. Hriscina trailing at this stage.
See, what that tells me in Coco's mind is he doesn't feel that he can trust that ball to the right and it's going to come back, so he's trying to help it in there.
And the more the help you give it, the worse it gets.
You got it.
Meanwhile, Hriscina goes out, circles it, comes back with an X. He'd like to double and take the lead.
See, you watch the difference in the 2 follow-throughs. John's goes to the right because he knows when he throws that ball right, it's coming back. He's trusting it all the way. So even though he's trailing in this match, I think the advantage is with Hriscina right now because he's just confident in how he plays in the lanes. I don't think Don Johnson is. See that follow-through? Ooh. Just gotten some bad breaks there, Denny. 10 pins, 7 pin, a couple of 7 pins. Light hits just not carrying. They could carry.
Well, he's yet to miss the pocket now in a game and a half, so he's locked in terms of feeling free, and I think he's got a pretty good approach to what he wants to do game plan-wise on this championship round pair. Now it's a question of carry, which is usually what it comes down to.
Well, it's easy to knock down 9 out here, but 10 sometimes is more difficult.
Now let's see if Don Johnson can adjust the arm swing or whatever he needs to do to get a little more of a solid pocket hit. Well, see, that one went a little to the right, and there was a better reaction.
Slightly better, but it's still not biting the lane as much as the ball he used yesterday. It's hitting the pocket, and again, if we'd see a replay of that, you'd see that ball you talked about, Marsala's ball deflecting to the right. That ball deflected quite a bit to the right, too.
Well, Coco reaches into the bag for perhaps another answer, although he will shoot the spare with this ball.
No trouble with the 10 pin. Here's what we'll watch. Watch this ball deflect to the right. See how much it deflects? It barely got the 5 pin out. He almost let the 5-10. That's how much that ball deflected.
Mopping down a little bit. Warm out there on the championship round pair, especially when you haven't been there in 13 years. Johnson leads by 7 at the halfway point. Light again, 2-4-5, and the 4-pin finally falls, so he stares at the 2-5 for the second consecutive time.
He's hanging on. That lead's getting smaller and smaller frame by frame there. Made the spare back in the fourth frame, so he shouldn't have any trouble making it now. Although whenever you got two of them up there instead of one, it's more difficult.
Don won 12 of his last 14 matches. Qualify for the telecast. Picks off the 2 and the 5 one more time. And we'll take a break here just past the midway point and take a look at how they've stacked up earnings-wise here on the PBA Senior Tour.
Which publication tells you about hundreds of great jobs open across the country right now? High-paying professional, managerial, and technical jobs. The National Business Employment Weekly. Which publication helps you land one of those jobs with articles on how to sharpen your resume, how to shine in interviews, how to market yourself. The National Business Employment Weekly. Which publication helps you do better after you land a great job? Get along with your boss, get a raise, get promoted. The National Business Employment Weekly, published by the Wall Street Journal. It's all you need besides your own ability to land and do well in the kind of job you've been looking for, in a part of the country you'll enjoy at a salary you can be proud of. It's all you need.
Get the National Business Employment Weekly at your newsstand, or order by credit card and get 8 issues by first-class mail for $35. Call 800-372-3000. 800-372-3000. The National Business Employment Weekly.
Don't make a career move without it.
And while we were away, John Hriscina struck in the 6th, left the 4-pin in the 7th, and the match stands at +5 for Don Johnson.
Switch balls, Denny.
Ball climbed up a little bit. Still a very light hit. Don has yet to really throw a flush strike. And earlier this evening, I asked him if he was more nervous about appearing in the championship round or when he watched his son win the Memorial Open earlier this year.
Well, there's no doubt I'll probably be nervous, but when Jimmy won the Brunswick World Open, that was the greatest day of my life. I'll tell you what, I was... Well, when he pointed at camera and said, "That's for you, Dad," I started crying, I'll have to admit, and I'm not ashamed to admit that. That was the greatest day of my life when Jimmy won.
And Coco comes back with a solid double, so he used that commercial break to switch balls.
Well, you can see that ball wants to finish more, and in your mind, when you know that you can throw it to the right and it's going to come back, it just makes you throw it better. You don't steer it.
Lead is 15. Hriscina, who really hasn't had much luck thus far in this match, needs to start striking, and he does with an X on 15.
And he has to strike on lane 15 right now. Has no strikes on this lane this game except for the first frame, and no time to wait. Down 15, can cut it to 5 with one here.
John with a possible 229 if he would strike out from the 9th frame. Don Johnson, though, could shoot 244.
John usually responds well in these kinds of situations.
Plenty of lift. Excellent shot. Couldn't have been any better.
That's one reason why he's such a great bowler. In the position round last night, he left a 2-4-10. Switch balls to that orange ball, made it lickety split. I mean, he just, in pressure situations, he does it. So does this man, though.
Oh, he's down on one knee, and he asked for a strike and got it. Don Coco Johnson with a 3-bagger.
And you see the difference in the follow-through, the difference in the confidence. He's a different bowler with this ball. And of course, we all are. I mean, it's not just, you know, when you don't trust that ball's going to come back, you steer it up there.
Made the adjustment in the 7th frame, and since that time has thrown 3 in a row.
And can lock this game up with one more strike here in the 10th frame. Ooh, he threw it nice, too, Denny.
Tough break. Now he'll just have to pick up the 10, get as many as possible, and keep his fingers crossed.
Switches to another ball to make the spare, one that's a little lower surface friction, so that it will go straighter, and he can throw right at the 10-pin. No mistakes now. Very solid game after 14 years without being on television. Comes right in there, a clean game with a strike here. It's 223. Remains to be seen whether it's going to be enough.
Hair's a little thinner, perhaps a little gray, but
the heart's the same.
Oh, I'm going to tell you. You don't forget. Just have to kick start it a little bit.